The whole real versus fake heir trope. Who knew it would actually happen in real life, and in my family, no less. The good news? I'm the biological son. The bad news? My younger brother, Jamie Clark, isn't. He was the one mistakenly brought home from the hospital, our family's glorious fake heir. And the worst part? Our entire family fortune basically hinges on Jamie. It's only thanks to his sharp business acumen that the Clark family still holds on to its elite status. So I tried to persuade him to come back and manage the company. Bro, he said, voice calm but distant, I'm no longer part of the Clark family. It wouldn't be right. I panicked. Then, what are we supposed to do? He looked at me, eyes cool and calculating. Simple. If I'm with you, then I'd be your brother-in-law. That makes it perfectly legitimate for me to keep running things. Wait, what? Did he just say he wants to become my sister-in-law? Welcome to History channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. The saying goes, dragons birth dragons, phoenixes birth phoenixes, and rats birth sons who dig holes. And from as early as I can remember, I always suspected Jamie Clark wasn't really our parents' biological child. There were two main reasons. First, my dad is short. I'm no giant either, standing at 5 feet 9 inches on a good day. But Jamie? He grew like he was injected with growth hormones, towering at a ridiculous 6 feet 2 inches. It made no sense. Second, and this one's key, our whole family is a pack of academic failures. My mom's a beautiful airhead. My dad's a good-for-nothing heir who coasted through life. And me? I'm a third-generation slacker with looks and nothing else. Honestly, if we didn't donate buildings to our schools, we probably wouldn't have been admitted. But Jamie was different. A straight-A prodigy. Since the day he picked up a pen, he never lost the top spot in class. He even got into the #1 ranked university in the world. I brought my theory to my parents. They told me I read too many damn novels and that my brain had turned to mush. Only Jamie, standing off to the side, gave me a long, unreadable look. I glared right back at him. To be fair, all of that was just baseless speculation. The only reason I said anything was to mess with him. Because honestly, I'd had it up to here with Jamie Clark. He acted superior just because he was taller, smarter, and clearly the more favored child. Ever since high school, he stopped calling me brother, and instead started bossing me around like I was his underling. He caught me dating early. Made me study. And after he took over the family company, the Clark family basically became his personal fiefdom. Even going out for a drink with friends required reporting to him, and God forbid I came home after 10 p.m. or he'd personally drag me back. I'm 28. I've never had an overnight outside the house. What kind of failure of a rich kid lives under this level of tyranny? Jamie Clark was a control freak. An egotistical, overbearing maniac. What started as a joke quickly spiraled into something else. Just a few days later, Jamie really brought someone home, a young man I'd never seen before. He sat our parents down and said calmly, "This is your biological son. I'm the one who was switched at birth." The guy looked just like my dad did in his youth. As our whole family reeled in shock, Jamie pulled out 2 documents and placed them on the table. These are the DNA test results. I snatched one up, heart pounding. Victor McKenna. The results showed 4 nines. 99.99%. Realer than solid gold. He was our parents' biological child. I blinked, stunned. I hadn't meant for it to be real. My mom hurriedly picked up the second report, her expression shifting as she read. Then she let out a long sigh and patted her chest. "Jamie, you really had us going. This test says you're 99.9% biologically ours too. I must have had twins and didn't even know it." My dad beamed. "Honey, remember how your belly was bigger the second time around? I told you it felt like twins. Look at us, we've got 3 sons now." I glanced at the report and breathed a sigh of relief. Jamie was still their son. I was still his brother. Jamie, however, looked like he'd lost all patience. He pointed at the line that read, "Not indicative of parent-child relationship." Then said flatly, "The average DNA similarity between 2 humans is already 99.9%. Humans and chimpanzees share 98%. That number just means we're all human. He looked directly at us, voice calm and cold. I'm not biologically yours. The McKenna and Clark families had babies in the same hospital at the same time. We were switched. I should have been named Jamie McKenna. Before we could even process all of that, he continued. He was returning everything. The shares, the company, even the house. He was moving out. I nearly exploded. Fine, so maybe he wasn't born into our family. But 25 years? Not a single shred of attachment? Just walk out? I chased him down the driveway. And then, years of bottled frustration broke loose. Jamie Clark, have you ever treated me like your real brother? He stopped, turned to face me, and the look in his eyes, I couldn't decipher it. Boris Clark, he said, you're really slow. I've always thought of you as my brother. I almost cried. So that's it. He'd always seen me as family, just thought I was too stupid to deserve the title. But he wasn't always like this. When we were kids, Jamie would totter after me on his chubby little legs, grinning sweetly as he called out, "Brother." He'd promise me in that high-pitched baby voice, "I'll always stay with you. When I grow up, I'll earn lots of money and take care of you." I don't know where it all changed. How did that sweet little boy become the cold, distant man standing in front of me now? Jamie looked me dead in the eyes. If I'm not your brother anymore, why are you so upset I'm leaving? What kind of question was that? You're my brother. Blood related or not, as long as you're my brother today, you'll always be my brother. Jamie Clark's face instantly darkened. His eyes reddened, and he spat out through gritted teeth, "Idiot." He wasn't even pretending anymore. That was straight up mockery, of my IQ, no less. "Get lost," he added with a sneer. Fuming, I threw my hands up and stormed off. The atmosphere in the living room was heavy. When Mom saw I came back alone, her face fell. Why did Jamie just leave like that? Is he coming home for dinner tonight? Dad gave her shoulder a comforting pat. Jamie's taking it the hardest. Give him some time, let him process. I'll talk to him again in a few days. Hardest, He walked out of here like he couldn't wait to be rid of us. But there was a more pressing issue now. Who was going to run the company? Back when Dad was in charge, the Clark family business was constantly on the verge of collapse. It wasn't until Jamie started college, balancing studies and business management, that things finally stabilized. Jamie had skipped a grade, so we'd ended up in the same class for middle and high school. Even our colleges were just across the street from each other. But in those 4 years, I could count on one hand the times we actually met. I was busy partying. He was busy building an empire. For the first time, I didn't have Jamie breathing down my neck to study. I went full freedom mode, gaming in the dorms, jetting off on random trips. No responsibilities. No plans. Meanwhile, Jamie was buried in academics, managing the family company, and launching a startup with his friends. And he was stupidly good at it. Under Jamie's leadership, the Clark company doubled in size. That tech company he founded with his college buddies? A full-blown unicorn now. More profitable than the Clark company itself. So when he graduated, Dad didn't hesitate. He announced his retirement and handed Jamie the CEO seat. I was the classic second-generation layabout. Lived off the dividends Jamie handed over, occasionally took on freelance photography gigs to pass the time. I couldn't even spell management, let alone run a company. Victor Clark, the real biological son, unfortunately inherited our family's legendary no-brains gene. He didn't even get into college. Ended up at a vocational school. When my parents heard the news, they looked strange. Not judgmental, just quietly apologetic, probably on behalf of the McKenna couple. Victor had said his adoptive parents were a high school teacher and a university professor. Both were now gone. I bet they'd spent years wondering if their parenting had somehow failed. Anyway, I stepped up. "Don't worry, though, Dad. I'll take over the company. I'll do an even better job than Jamie Clark." I had to prove myself. I couldn't stop thinking about the way he called me an idiot before leaving. I'd prove him wrong. I'd make him kneel and call me brother. Work was hell. I lay face down on the massive CO desk, on the brink of tears. I'd been in meetings all morning and didn't understand a word anyone was saying. The paperwork on my desk was piled higher than my will to live. How the hell did Jamie Clark manage to get off work on time every day and still drive home for dinner? No wonder he quit. If I were him, I'd have thrown in the towel too. I couldn't help turning to Larry Flora, our senior advisor. How did Jamie Clark manage to get all this done every day? From what I knew, Jamie's tech company might be managed by his co-founders, but he still had to show up for major decisions. He had way more on his plate than just this. Larry adjusted his glasses. Mr. Clark read documents at incredible speed, could multitask during meetings, review figures and spot inaccuracies, all simultaneously. So he was basically doing the job of two people, as one. I almost started sympathizing with the guy. What I didn't notice was the flicker of something in Larry Flora's eyes. Sharp, calculating. After work, I even listened to my parents for once and went to check on Jamie. When Jamie started college, he bought a spacious condo near campus. He'd even invited me to move in with him back then. I refused, obviously. He used to drag me to tutoring sessions every day in high school. Finally being free in college? There was no way I was moving in with him. Still, he added my fingerprint to his door lock anyway. If it doesn't work, I'm leaving, I muttered to myself as I pressed my thumb against the scanner. The door opened instantly. At least he didn't delete me. Still had a sliver of conscience left. I strutted inside like I owned the place. The living room lights were on, but no one was there. Then I heard the sound of water running in the bathroom. Jamie was in the shower. Whatever. I grabbed an apple from his fridge and sat down to wait. The bathroom door opened a few minutes later with a puff of steam, and then Jamie walked out. Completely naked. Fresh out of the shower, damp hair clinging to his face, he looked almost unnervingly gorgeous in a ruined angel kind of way. His lips were flushed, eyes heavy, posture languid. Like a vampire who just fed. A droplet slid down his broad chest. I followed it with my eyes. His abs were perfectly sculpted, tight and lean. His waist was narrow, muscles taut with explosive strength. A literal textbook definition of alpha male. And then I looked lower. Jesus. What the hell had this man been eating? I felt a wave of inferiority crash over me. This wasn't just impressive. This was offensive. And the worst part? No towel. Not even a shred of clothing. Dude! I shrieked, the apple slipping from my hand and rolling across the floor to his feet. Are you insane? Who the hell walks around naked at home like this? Jamie blinked at me, like I was the crazy one. Jamie Clark took his time reaching for the towel on the sofa, wrapping it loosely around his waist. But his eyes stayed locked on me, unblinking, intense, predatory. Something was off. The way he was looking at me, it wasn't normal. It was the way a starving wolf would look at a piece of fresh meat, eyes practically glowing green. Was he in a bad mood? Planning to beat me up to vent? I glanced at his biceps, thicker than my thighs, and instinctively shrank back half a step. But that looked like I was scared of him, so I puffed up my chest again and snapped. What are you staring at? Boris Clark, he said slowly, this is the first time I've seen you in a suit. It's very fitted. Looks good on you. I couldn't help it, my ego purred. The suit was a tailored slim cut, showing off my perfect waist-to-hip ratio, making my legs look even longer. Combined with the pretty face I inherited from Mom and a pair of rimless glasses, I looked every bit the elite professional. At least, that's what it looked like. At the office today, no one realized I was just a good-looking piece of useless pastry. Feeling the dignity of an older brother return to me, I scowled. Jamie Clark, you're not even picking up Mom and Dad's calls now? You're not seriously planning to cut ties with the Clark family, are you? Really? Just because he wasn't biologically related? What difference did it make? Our parents treated him better than they treated their real sons. He practically ran the house. Jamie held up his phone. My battery died. Fine. Just remember to call Mom back. I'm heading out. I'd seen him, so I dusted off my pants and got ready to leave. Jamie shot up immediately. Don't go home. Stay here tonight. Then he even dangled bait. I installed a brand new gaming setup in the study. My ears twitched. Temptation flooded me. But then I remembered I'd sworn to become a competent SO and make Jamie respect me. So I forced myself to say, no. I still have work to do. Today, I was no longer yesterday's Boris Clark. Today, I was a working professional. Stay, he murmured. Keep me company. I'll help you with your work. Then, almost like he was coaxing me, okay, brother. My spine melted instantly. He called me brother. He hadn't called me that since high school. Fine, I muttered, pretending to be reluctant. I could impress him starting tomorrow. Tonight could be an exception. In the study, I sat cross-legged in his office chair, fully absorbed in my game. Jamie was squeezed onto a little stool next to me, flipping through documents. I glanced at him. He was practically leaning against my side. His desk was nearly as long as a bed. Why did he have to sit right next to me? He was huge and warm. He used to flinch away from the slightest touch, like being near me might lower his IQ just from contact. Was he insecure? If I were Jamie Clark and suddenly learned I wasn't my parents' biological son, I'd probably have a meltdown too. He'd always been someone who kept everything bottled up. Maybe he'd been forcing himself to act strong all these years. Why else would he want me to stay with him tonight? So fine. If he wanted to sit next to me, let him. But when it came time to sleep, it became a problem. You're telling me your 200 square meter condo has only one bed? That's how it is, he said. I usually go home. I only sleep here occasionally. Why would I buy more beds? Besides, we've slept together before. What's the big deal? That was years ago, I mumbled. Like elementary school years ago. The master bed was huge, over 2 meters wide. 2 grown men wouldn't even bump elbows. Whatever. After I showered, the bedroom lights were already off. He was asleep this early? A faint line of floor lights traced the edge of the bed. I followed it to my side and lay down, then shot straight up. Jamie Clark. Why the hell are you naked? Because I run hot, he replied lazily. High libido, strong yang energy. I get warm. But was that even human speech? No man ever accepts another man claiming to be stronger, so I shot back. How would you even know you're strong? You've never had a girlfriend. What if you're all looks and no function? Other than business trips, he came home every night. Definitely the type who had zero dating life. Mom and Dad used to worry he'd work himself into monkhood. Jamie raised an eyebrow. Don't believe me? Want to test it? Testerous. Why was he suddenly acting like the same brat he used to be, mouthing off with no respect? Annoyed, I swung my leg over his waist and smacked him with a pillow. The pillow hit something, God knows what, and the entire mattress rippled like ocean waves. This bed had special functions. I seized the opportunity to mock him. So much for being strong. Using toys already at your age. But before I could finish laughing, Jamie flipped us over in one swift move. I hit the mattress with a thud, pinned beneath him. With the bed still moving, my body rubbed against him with every wave, completely out of my control. Why, get off. Crap. I suddenly understood just how compromising this position was. In the darkness, the sound of his breathing deepened. Low, heavy, uneven. My ears burned. My skin tingled. And then, I felt him against me. Unmistakable. And very, very real. Jamie Clark didn't get off me. If anything, he leaned down even harder, his hands sliding south with unmistakable intent. If you don't believe me, he murmured against my ear, then let's compare properly. And compare, we did. By the time he was done, I was the one rubbed raw. The next morning, even going to the bathroom felt like sandpaper grinding across my skin. At work, I couldn't concentrate on anything. I started counting the leaves on the office plant just to stay sane. Normally, not normal, but normal. That was when Larry Flora walked in with a folder. Mr. Boris, we've revised the contract for the Jamie Company project according to your notes. If everything looks good, we can approve it internally. I took the folder and flipped through it, pretending I knew what any of it meant. This was all Jamie Clark's doing. I didn't even know what executive summary was supposed to summarize. Looks fine. Go ahead. Larry turned to leave, and I suddenly blurted. Larry, you ever, used your hands to, compare stuff with your close guy friends? It should be normal, right? Larry paused. His face twitched. I suppose most guys have? In school dorms. Sometimes the boys would gather and, watch certain foreign videos together. Right? Makes sense. Men are competitive in all sorts of weird ways. Just like how little boys compare who can pee farther. Hearing that, I finally relaxed. Larry, however, was screaming internally. Mr. Clark, you beast. You moved out of the Clark family for one day and already dragged the young master into bed, in animal. When it was time to clock out, Jamie video called me. Remembering what happened last night, I refused to answer. He texted me, when are you coming back? Coming back? To his place? I never said I was going today. Then another message came through, 2 photos. First, Jamie in the kitchen cooking. Just learned how to make your favorite chestnut chicken. My throat tightened. It looked amazing. The second photo was his computer screen. Installed the newest game for you. My heart skipped. It was the action game I'd been dying to play, still in beta, with limited access. Even money couldn't buy a slot. But Jamie owned a tech company that worked on core systems. Of course he'd get a beta key without breaking a sweat. And just like that, I caved. After work, I grabbed my incomplete paperwork and practically sprinted to Jamie's condo. Life at Jamie Clark's place was heaven. He handled half of it. Dinner? Michelin-level meals made by hand. Entertainment? The newest games dropped onto my desk as soon as they existed. People with brains really do learn everything fast. He'd been cooking for a few days and already surpassed our family's professional chef. Weekends, when I got too absorbed in a game and missed dinner time, he'd just sit beside me and feed me while I played. It was paradise. I completely forgot how he used to treat me like a delinquent under house arrest. In a whole month, I only went home twice. The rest of the time, I lived at Jamie's. Only one thing was off. He kept grabbing me to compare things. Over and over. Why was his competitive streak so strong? That night, he dragged me into another round. Still not admitting defeat? His breath was hot against my ear. I bit down hard on my lip. When it came to pride, a man can never say he's lacking. Jamie's pace increased. Veins strained along his neck and shoulders. Without thinking, I leaned in and bit him. H&E. He groaned, the sound rough and low. Our tangled breaths filled the room, the blankets already damp with heat. When we finally stopped, I rolled to the side, exhausted. Jamie's warm body immediately pressed against my back. I kicked him. Didn't you say you run hot? Don't stick to me. It's getting cold in October, he murmured. I'm chilly. Then wear pajamas. Why are you rubbing against me? Generating warmth through friction. But a string of curses burst out of my mouth. I shoved him right off the bed. At the end of the month, 2 of my college roommates came to the city for business trips. We'd all scattered after graduation, so meeting up was rare. I booked the best hot spring hotel for them and ordered their signature sake. Our alcohol tolerance was terrible. After 2 bottles, we were already dizzy. But why was it so hot? At first we thought it was the hot spring. Then the hotel manager rushed in, panicked. I'm terribly sorry. The sake was switched by mistake. This one is meant to encourage romantic activity. Just rest and let the effects fade. Tonight's bill will be completely waived. The 3 of us stared at each other, then retreated awkwardly to our rooms. The wine hit me like a tidal wave. My brain turned to mush. I stumbled toward my room, barely able to walk straight. Just as I reached the door, it swung open from the inside. Jamie Clark stood there, in the doorway, framed by steam from the hot springs, handsome enough to make my vision spin harder. How much did you drink? He asked, catching me as I swayed. He closed the door behind me. What are you doing here? I slurred. I visited Mom and Dad. The driver told me you were here with friends. He came back to fetch clothes, so I brought them for you. On the chair sat a small bag, clean clothes. I nodded vaguely and shoved past him toward the bathroom. I was burning up. Every drop of alcohol in my veins felt like liquid fire. As soon as I stepped into the bathroom, Jamie Clark followed behind me. "What's wrong?" he asked. "The hotel gave us the wrong wine. There's something off about it." "I'll help you," he said, and before I could argue, he grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me toward him. He tried for a long time. My skin was starting to burn from the friction, and we still weren't getting anywhere. F***K. I cursed, breath ragged. Isn't this stuff just supposed to spice things up? What the hell did they put in it? Jamie's hand shifted, and a sharp jolt of pain made me hiss. He looked down, then suddenly sank to one knee. "What are you doing?" I flinched, startled. "I told you," he said quietly, "I'm helping." And with that, he lowered his head. "No!" Before I could push him away, a tidal wave of sensation surged up, stronger and sharper than before. The hand that had meant to shove his head away ended up gripping his hair. When I finally came to my senses, I shoved him hard in a panic. He wasn't ready for it and fell straight to the ground, his head hitting the edge of the vanity with a sickening thud. A gash split open on his forehead. There was a faint trace of something else at the corner of his mouth. His expression, part shock, part something I couldn't name, froze in place. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, I didn't. I stumbled over my words, heart pounding with guilt, then bolted out the door like it was on fire. Before I fled, I cast one last glance back. Jamie was still on the floor, exactly where I'd pushed him, his head lowered, face unreadable in the shadows. For the next few days, I didn't dare contact Jamie. He didn't text me either. He was definitely pissed. Boris Clark, what the hell was in that wine? Every time I remembered what happened that night, I wanted to punch myself in the face. I mean, the other stuff I could barely explain away. But this? Come on, even if there's no blood relation, he's still my brother. Just when my brain was about to combust, the news broke. Some tabloid leaked the fact that Jamie Clark wasn't the Clark family's biological child. My head was already a mess. I got up to pour myself a cold drink and clear it, only to hear voices gossiping from the break room. "Did you hear? Jamie Clark's not even a real Clark. Got switched at the hospital and was raised by them by mistake. No wonder he hasn't shown up lately. And now they've got that other young master sitting in. Must have hit him hard, booted from his own company just because he's not blood." Then came a sneer from a younger male voice, practically oozing smugness. "Please." He was always so full of himself, acting all high and mighty. Only reason the ladies liked him was the money. Now that he's back to being a nobody? Let's see how long the arrogance lasts. Raymond Frank, come on. Let's not pretend. You've had a grudge ever since Han from admin started crushing on him instead of you. Don't take it out on Jamie. The guy named Raymond Frank scoffed louder. If he didn't have a rich family, that pretty boy second gen wouldn't even be qualified to polish my shoes. If I were the Clark heir, I'd run that company better than he ever did. Bang. I kicked the door open so hard it bounced off the wall. Everyone inside jumped. I marched in and zeroed in on Raymond Frank, glaring down at him. "You want to be the heir of the Clark family? Your face is so wide it could grill a pancake from Shandong, and even if you jumped, you wouldn't reach Jamie Clark's kneecaps. My parents would never birth something that ugly. You think Jamie should be polishing your shoes? Dream on. You're just bitter because your whole life is a pile of garbage." Jamie Clark might not be their biological son, but his last name is still Clark. He still owns shares in the Clark Company. And when you see him, you'll still address him as Mr. Clark. Jamie had tried to return his shares to my parents, but they wouldn't take them. They insisted he keep his half. The remaining shares, along with our family's cash and properties, were to be split between me and Victor Clark. Neither of us had any complaints. After all, if it weren't for Jamie, the Clark family's assets would have turned to dust years ago. Having said my piece, I didn't care how Raymond Frank's face went pale or green or whatever. I turned on my heel and slammed the door shut. By noon, the rumor was confirmed. Raymond Frank had submitted his resignation. But I still wasn't done being angry. People could insult me all they wanted, but Jamie Clark? I couldn't stand hearing anyone talk trash about him. My heart gave a small, involuntary thud, but I didn't let myself think about it too hard. We grew up together. That was all. After work, I found myself hesitating outside Jamie's door. Normally, I just used my fingerprint to enter. But today, I suddenly felt like that would be too much. So I rang the bell instead. Jamie opened the door. His eyes lit up the second he saw me. "You're back." He pulled me in without waiting for a response. "I didn't know you'd be here." "What do you want for dinner?" he called over his shoulder, heading toward the kitchen. I sat stiffly on the couch. "Jamie Clark, come sit down. I need to talk to you." He returned, obediently taking a seat beside me. "What is it?" I stared at him, took a deep breath, then stood up and bowed deeply. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." The smile vanished from Jamie's face. "That's why you came? To apologize?" "Well, not just that." I scratched the back of my neck. "I wanted to ask if you'd consider coming back to the company. Take charge again. Don't worry, I won't short you. I'll even split my shares with you, ha ha." I forced a laugh to lighten the tension. Truth was, I'd finally accepted the truth. I wasn't cut out for business. Better to let the expert handle it. Jamie's voice cut through my nervous rambling. "You're offering me half your shares because you want me to come back? Or because you want me to forget what happened that night?" I froze. The smile dropped right off my face. How did he see through me so fast? "You think I need your shares?" he added quietly. Jamie Clark didn't lack anything. His tech company printed money. Even without the Clark Company's shares, he was still the richest person in the family. "I only did that because of the wine," I muttered. "Let's just not talk about it again, okay?" Not like I was the one who started it anyway. "Oh," Jamie drawled, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "So the shares were a bribe to keep my mouth shut, huh? What? Why are you making me sound like some kind of scumbag?" My face flushed with shame and frustration. I'd already lost face in front of him. "You're making me sound like I used you. Haven't you?" I had no comeback. I stared at the bandage on his forehead and instantly felt even guiltier. In a panic, I changed the subject. "Are you coming back to manage the company or not?" Jamie didn't hesitate. "I went back home the day I left and asked Mom and Dad for the household registry. My residency has already been transferred. I'm no longer part of the Clark family. There's no name, no title, nothing legitimate." "Why did he move so fast?" "What do you mean not legitimate? Half the company is still under your name. The board can't say anything. They should be begging him to come back, with how much profit he brought in." "I already transferred those shares to you," he said. "What? I never." Oh shit. I remembered now. He had handed me a stack of documents to sign while I was gaming. I hadn't even looked at them. Just scribbled my name and went back to my raid. If he slipped a share transfer in there, "I'll come back to the company," Jamie said, voice cool and measured, "but there's one other way." "What way?" I asked, too eager to even think. His dark eyes bore into mine. "If I'm with you, then I'm your brother-in-law. That would make it perfectly acceptable for me to help manage the company." I blinked. "Wait, you want to date me? I'm your brother." Has he completely lost his mind? Was he also drunk on that damn wine? Jamie stared at me, his gaze dark and unreadable. Obsessive. Twisted. "The thing I hate most," he said slowly, "is that you only ever saw me as a brother. That's why I stopped calling you one. And now, even after everything, you still think we're just brothers." He leaned in, voice colder than before. "Tell me, Boris, what kind of brothers do the things we've done?" Before I could react, Jamie shoved me down onto the sofa. His hands roamed places that made my skin crawl with heat. I pressed myself back into the cushions, trembling. "Hey, don't. I'm your brother. Don't cross the line." Jamie sneered. "Still trying to pull the big brother card? You really don't get it, do you?" He pinned me deeper into the sofa and started tearing at my clothes. I struggled, squirmed, but then he spanked me. I froze, stunned. "Did you just hit me?" My voice broke. "I'm your brother and you spanked me?" "Spanking's just the beginning," he said, voice low and dangerous. "Since you like being a big brother so much, let me play along." He stripped me bare, then did the same to himself. One knee planted between my legs, spreading them. Then he knelt there, between my thighs, completely naked. "Brother," he said in a low whisper, "do you like it here? Or here?" Oh God. I did swear I'd make him kneel and call me brother. But this wasn't what I meant. Apparently, Jamie found new pleasure in saying brother. He said it every time he moved. Over and over. Looks like someone really likes being called brother, huh? Why are you shaking so much? By the end of the hour, I was practically traumatized. I never wanted to hear Jamie Clark call me brother ever again. I blacked out. The next morning, I waited until Jamie went into his office and snuck out, clutching my sore backside like a fugitive. The moment I stepped into the house, I froze. The whole family was in the living room, faces grim and serious. It was the weekend. Why were they all up so early? Even Victor, the notorious night owl, was there. "What's going on?" I asked cautiously. Dad took a deep drag of his cigarette. "Some board members came by this morning. They want Jamie back at the company. They said if this keeps up, we're heading toward bankruptcy." I winced. Last week, I'd insisted on handling things myself after arguing with Jamie. Ended up screwing 3 deals and wrecking 5 ongoing projects. My butt ached in sympathy. "I already tried talking to Jamie a few days ago," Dad muttered, exhaling a plume of smoke. "He still refused to come back." "Bankrupt? Are we really going bankrupt?" Mom wailed. "If we go under, my beauty, my manners, my elegance, and even my soul, they'll all be ruined." She burst into tears. Victor immediately stepped forward to comfort her. "Don't worry, Mom. I've been writing novels recently. I've made a bit of progress. Even if we go bankrupt, I'll support you. I won't let you go hungry." Her eyes lit up. "My son's an author now? That's wonderful. How much do you make a month?" Around $100. I rolled my eyes. "But that's $3 a day. 1 bun per meal, for the whole family." Just as I opened my mouth to roast him, I heard the housekeeper call out, "Jamie, you're back already?" I panicked, instinctively shielding my ass. What was he doing here again? Jamie strolled in, calm and unhurried. I was facing away from the door, but I could hear his footsteps. I stiffened. He came to stand beside me. Then, in a clear voice, said, "Dad, I'll return to the company tomorrow." Dad beamed with relief, already reaching out to pat his back. But Jamie wasn't done. He reached for my hand, pulled me forward, then knelt with a thud. "Dad, Mom," he said solemnly, "I'm in love with Boris. I hope you'll give us your blessing." I stood there, stunned. What the hell is he saying? When the hell did we get together? My dad's smile vanished instantly, replaced by absolute fury. "Boris Clark, what the hell did you do to your brother?" I was wronged, deeply wronged. I was the victim here. I'd never seen my dad so angry in my entire life. My knees went weak, and with a thud, I dropped down too. Dad was so furious he almost dragged me off for family discipline, but Jamie stepped in front of me, saying it was all his fault. Victor and Mom jumped in as well. After a chaotic mess of shouting and grabbing, Dad actually agreed. Agreed? Agreed to what? I hadn't agreed to be with Jamie. I was about to stand up and protest loudly when Jamie clamped a hand over my mouth and dragged me upstairs. He hauled me all the way into the bedroom. I'd had enough and bit his palm. "What is wrong with you? What did you tell Mom and Dad?" He looked at me with this wounded expression, like I was the one who broke his heart. "Brother, I gave you my first time. Aren't you going to take responsibility?" The audacity. The absolute shamelessness. I slapped him across the face. Jamie didn't even get mad. Worse, he leaned down and licked my wrist. I shuddered. This guy had no shame left in his body. He looked at me seriously. "Brother, if you date someone else, he might scam you. Take your money. Run away with it. Leave you hungry. And he might fight with Mom. Make you stuck in the middle. Miserable." I opened my mouth, ready to explode, but he grabbed my hand gently. "But if you're with me, it's different. I'll help you run the company. Every cent I earn, I'll give it to you. I'll cook for you. Anything you want to eat, I'll learn it. You can do whatever you want. I won't micromanage you like before. And I'll never fight with Mom. We'll be the ones taking care of your parents together. And most importantly, if you agree to be with me, then from now on, the entire household, you'll be the one in charge. I'll listen to you. His voice softened, deepened. Brother, be with me. I love you. One condition after another. One promise after another. All so damn tempting. I felt myself wavering, again. I'm your brother. Instantly he countered, we're not related. And Mom and Dad already approved. Then he leaned close. Tell me the truth. After everything these weeks, you didn't feel anything? Not even a little? That night at the hotel? I slapped my hand over his mouth. Fine. I agree. Now shut up. He pulled my hand away and smiled, bright, radiant. Sunlight touched his face and my heart skipped. Living together, I soon realized, Jamie McKenna was a liar. He still treated me like a wayward kid he needed to control. And Mom and Dad were always on his side. Seriously, who was the biological child in this family? Since I wasn't going back to the company, I returned to my old freelance photography work. The day's job happened to be near our old high school. I suddenly remembered how Jamie used to love a burger place nearby. Since he cooked for me every night, I figured I'd buy 2 burgers and surprise him after work. But unexpectedly, I ran into our high school beauty, Anna Brust, at the burger shop. Anna Brust, is that your kid? He's adorable. She held a little boy's hand, looked just like her. She nodded. He just turned 3. Old classmates catching up, we naturally started talking about school days. Back then, she'd brought me water a few times during basketball. I'd even stupidly thought she liked me. Good thing Jamie was strict as hell and banned all dating. Otherwise today would be painfully awkward. Anna glanced at the burgers in my hand. Are those for Jamie Clark? You two are together now? My eyes widened. How did she guess that? She burst out laughing at my shocked expression. You probably don't know this, but a lot of girls had crushes on you back then. I did too. But every time a girl liked you, Jamie Clark would scare her off. Then I saw the news recently that you two aren't biological siblings, and everything made sense. Girls crushed on me? But everyone liked smart people. Why would anyone like me? I mean, I'm only 5 feet 9 inches. And a lifelong academic disaster. Never got a single love letter back then. Turns out they never reached me. Because Jamie got rid of them. I stormed into his office to settle accounts. Jamie Clark. I kicked open the office door, grabbed him by the collar. What the hell did you do back in high school? Jamie pulled me onto his lap like it was nothing. Baby, I liked you. Of course I chased away my love rivals. I stared at him, dumbfounded. You were insane. We were still brothers back then. The truth about the two families' mix-up hadn't even come out yet. Jamie buried his face against my shoulder. Thank God. Thank God we're not brothers. I looked down at him, at that relieved, almost glowing smile, and muttered under my breath. Pervert. But whatever. If he's a pervert, then he's my pervert. And if he loves me that much, I guess we'll make it work. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.